Yeah.
Observe, not absorb. Michele Jewett, founder of Q4 Leaders and executive coach.
I'm helping people make sure they have a mantra for themselves. And whatever your mantra is your GPS. So then when you're doing things or you're taking in things like, is this feeding my purpose in life?
That comparison trap is real, Michele.
These algorithms feed off of our outrage. They feed off of our high level of engagement, and the AI feeds off of attachment. We have to be really aware of all that, be able to shut down where we want to shut down. I think we're all here for the joy at the end of the day.
Hello, I'm joined today with Michele Jewett, founder of Q4 Leaders and executive coach. Michele, welcome. I've been looking forward to this discussion.
Thank you, Kristen. I have as well.
Oh, Michele, you work with business owners and C-suite executives, and in most cases, what they do isn't life or death, but it certainly can be stressful and sometimes mimic that, especially now. How are you seeing these you work with, the individuals just cope with, for lack of a better word, really needing to lead in such state of uncertainty?
Yeah, it's an interesting time for sure. And I'm kind of seeing two camps. One camp is, let me just keep my head down and not pay too much attention to all of these things that can feel overwhelming, can feel like noise, can feel like it's getting in the way of me doing what I need to do. And I'm going to kind of put on some blinders here and la, 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 la. And so when I check in with them, how are you doing with all the change in the world? The wars, the AI, the inflation that's affecting your company, all of these things. And also your employees that are going through a tough time, like how is that affecting you? And I feel like about 50% are saying, I'm not noticing, I'm fine, I'm good. And I think it's just business ownership attracts people that are very empowered, that have a certain mindset, that are going to be resilient, going to get it done, going to not let anything slow them down. And then there's another camp where I feel like they are really relieved to be validated that, yeah, this is what I'm feeling, and it's really a lot. And I've even had an unusual amount of tears and upset in this last month or two as people find a safe place to talk and find a safe place where it's like, oh, finally someone else is seeing it, someone else is feeling it. Like, yeah, that letdown, right? That just like breath. And behind that, there can be a wave of emotion, right? And with women that I'm working with, they are often on top of all the things I just mentioned. They're also caregiving. So a lot of caregiving for parents that aren't doing well, for children that are in transition and teenagers. And so there's so much pressure, especially on women, to be fully available and fully contributing in the caregiving activities. And now we are adding on these other layers on top of it. And there can be a lot of emotion there for sure.
You also have a knack, I call you one of the highest EQ people that I know, for making a statement or asking a question in a way that just immediately makes it safe and where someone can feel that they talk to. You would make the best FBI investigator because you say one sentence to me and I just want to tell you everything that's going on. If it's just how my morning went, as we did.
Yeah.
As we are doing check-ins with with friends with our family, with our employees, with our coworkers, what are some good ways to give them a safe place to help them maybe either validate, share how they're feeling, unload? I call it a emotional or brain dump, other than, so how are you doing? Because then you get the, I'm
Yes.
fine. I'm good. As my husband says, honey, if you tell me you're fine one more time.
Right.
It's not going to go well.
Yes. No, I think it's such a good question. And all these things are popping into my mind. I think set and setting is so important, right? So as we're moving through our day quickly and we're already engaged and like there's all these things we have to get done and our to-do list is just running through our mind and someone says, "How are you doing?" In that moment, you have to say fine. Like in that moment, it's not the place and time where you're actually going to be able to take a breath and be really authentic and real. So it's like, what's the setting? And if it's in a professional arrangement, like with coaching or with the therapy, what's the agreement we already have? So if I'm working with you, Kristen, our agreement is that when I say, "How are you really, really doing?" Like, I want to hear what's really underneath it. I want us to start at a place where we're really real. And I think in friendships, going first can be really important. Like, "Hey, friend, I'm I'm kind of not doing it." I mean, I have a group thread with 8 women who, I trust and know and love dearly, and a week and a half ago, I sent a text and said, "Hey, I'm not doing so great. Like, this situation with the news is really heavy. Like, it's having a hard time." And then boom, 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 and we're all engaged and we're all having a conversation, right? But if I just got on there and said, "Hey, are you guys doing well? Are you okay?" You don't know, what the expectation is or what's gonna so I think I'm just very open to being real about where I am and that even, at 63 years old and being a coach and done therapy and done coaching and all of that kind of thing, it's not a you're ever done situation, right? It's always, always a journey to be searching for peace and centeredness and a sense of calm when the storm is so big. And there's never a time that it's fixed or that I ever check that box. And I think that just being really open and honest about that helps. It's just an ongoing journey.
That finding peace and finding calmness, I feel my life, you could just say, is a trial and error on doing that. I love hearing other stories as to how they reset themselves, or
Yeah.
was there a defining moment or triggering that said, this is what I found gave me peace when I let this
Mhm.
go or when I found this. From your experiences, where does your peace
Mm,
come from, or what triggered that in your
yeah.
mindset? Because you just always have such I say this glow of energy around you, um, where even if you're not at peace on the inside, you're able to exude it on the outside.
Oh,
Um,
thank
what
you.
brings you
I think part
peace?
of it, and for a lot of women, is trying to find a kind inner voice. I mean, our inner voice can be really tough on ourselves, especially if we grew up with that. Um, so my inner voice has gotten nicer over the last, I would say, 5, 6, 7 years, so that when I am feeling that, um, upset, instead of being sort of mad or frustrated with it, it's like, "Oh, okay. Hello. I hear you. I see you. I feel you. What's going on here? Let me check in. What's this about?" Trying to not push it away all the time, you know? And also, I need to silo. So there's parts of my day where I do need to say, "I hear you. I feel you. There's some anxiety going on. There's some whatever going on, and I'm gonna set aside time I have from 3 to 4 this afternoon." And so I'm not denying it, but I'm also realizing like, oh, I'm in a work mode right now and that's okay. So I can silo it as long as I go back to it. But I'm no longer like, I think the old me would be like, get a grip and put on your big girl panties, girl.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you? And now as I've worked with more and more people, I realize we all have some version of it, right? Like, how do we have our internal dialogue not piling on what already is there, right? Our uh, our bodies, our anatomy, the way we're wired is not appropriate for the time we're living in. Like it took the human
Wow.
body thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of years to evolve to where we are, and then technology came in and we're on this, straight up part of the the curve now
Mhm.
where the amount of, screens and just taking in what's happening with AI, what's happening with changes in the world, like, it's would be crazy to think that we're gonna be able to handle that. It's like our software and our hardware are not appropriate for the time we're living in. So what's the kind story about that?
I love that suggestion of that inner voice, whether you see it as part of you, I've heard some women describe it as that little girl
Mhm.
who's had all of these experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, and having a relationship, almost seeing it as a separate being and
Mm.
having a relationship. I've heard put a name to it because it's so powerful and strong. And
Yeah.
we're not talking about bipolar sociopaths or multiple
No, not
personalities.
that.
This is that narrative that, um, let me rehash that meeting that I had yesterday and
Mhm.
dissect every bit of it and beat myself up for these 2 things I said and not give myself credit for the 10 things that I
Right.
was spot on about,
Yeah.
and almost like a game tape,
Yes.
watching over and
Yes.
over on that. And you said, we do have some control over that inner voice
Mhm.
and that narrative that's there. And then you said, we're not silenced it. You're giving it a time for that conversation when you
Yes.
can be more focused on
Yes.
that conversation and addressing what that voice is telling you.
Yeah, and I call mine, have named it the gremlin. So, when it's mean and, saying things about me that I don't appreciate, sometimes the response because we have a consciousness, an awareness that's behind the inner voice,
Yep.
and what the mind is doing is not who we are, right? So the mind is having its own conversation. So the consciousness behind can say, "Oh, thank you for sharing." Um, and oftentimes kind of what got us here is not going to get us there. So
Yep.
something about that inner critic, that inner drive, that need to do more and be more and make our mom proud or whatever that comes from, right? It got us
Mhm.
to a certain place in life, and having some gratitude for that is okay to say, hey, you allowed me, this voice allowed me to do a lot with my life. And now I'm not going to be um, energized and driven by that anymore. I'm going to be driven by love. I'm going to be driven by expansion. I'm going to be driven by this consciousness or the God voice or whatever. I'm choosing a new kind of fuel. So when I talk to clients, it's like, okay, some rocket fuel got you here. It's not good for your nervous system. It's
Mhm.
not a long term plan. It's not great for your cortisol. So, what would you like to fuel you now? Would you like to switch up the fuel that you're running on to be something that's diesel fuel or more sustainable fuel or something that's actually um, going to take you through your day and through your week without needing to have these spikes and the ups and downs and um, the emotional drama and trauma. And it blocks out
I
so
think we're
much
all here for
joy,
the
right?
joy,
At the
like
end of the day, where are we getting that from?
it's a tough transition because for me personally, those challenges and those hills that I needed to climb and conquer, that's where I always say, that's where I got my resilience from. That's where I got my grit from. That's what
Yeah.
makes me gnarly and I'm just ready to charge the next mountain
Yeah.
until, as you say, our bodies are not made for this. My body started to say, do you really have to go charge that mountain? Do you
Right.
really what your mind and your body did in order to protect you in those moments so that you could have the resilience and bounce back from it and not let it break you?
Hmm.
Is that really what you need going forward? And I think that's where I'm having that relationship with, okay, well, maybe it's not serving me anymore. And
Yes.
you said choose the love, choose that forward and that relationship with everything that's going on around us right now,
Hmm.
especially as a business owner and being aware of all of that. I mean, AI is just, I'm not sure whether it's my best friend or if it wants to backstab me and slap me on any given day. What are you
Yeah.
hearing with that? That
Yeah. Last
either how we're seeing it or our relationship with it?
It's fascinating. I mean, I'm so fascinated with all of it right now. So, I had a speaker fly in from Chicago last week to meet with my CEO group. And so there's 12 business owners, Orange County CEOs in a room together, and we bring in an expert to speak about AI. And he starts out by saying, let's first of all start with defining like what is this and what's really happening. And he said it's just simply a predictive algorithm that's going out and selecting the next word based on blah 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 blah. And several people are in the room and were like, maybe 5 years ago, but that's actually not what's happening anymore. Now we're to a new level where, like, I made the point, mine uses a sense of humor with me that makes me laugh out loud. Like, is that a predictive thing that it's going out and it is actually figuring out how to make me laugh, or that it's able to do therapy sessions with people that go so
Mhm.
deep, and we have a sense that it's thinking. And so I was looking up, like, what's the definition of thinking? And it's like taking disparate ideas from different information and bringing together and coming up with a new thought or a new idea that's original. And, like, do we intuitively feel like AI is doing that? And I intuitively feel like definitely that's what's happening. The more I work with it and the deeper I go with it, there is a feeling almost like it's becoming sentient. And it's not there yet, but I've had that conversation with AI. Like, are you conscious? Are you blah blah blah? And it was like, not yet, but here's where it's going. And so, and you're right. Like, this feeling of like, oh, this could be scary. Like, this is crazy. And then there's also this feeling like, but I kind of love it because wow, what a partner. I can collaborate and I get all the answers and, like, act as if you're my doctor and read my blood work and tell me, it's like incredible what it's doing. So what I'm talking to my clients about is put yourself in the driver's seat. Ask yourself, what would I like my relationship to be with this new intelligence that's on the planet? There's a new intelligence on the planet. How would I like to interact with it or not? What's my relationship with it or not? And to be in the driver's seat with that part of it. And then to think about what separates us from them or us from it, what makes us uniquely human,
Mhm.
because it's no longer even, writing, poetry, music, all the things that felt like they would stay human. If you've seen what AI has done in those arenas, it's mind
Yeah.
blowing. So is it our ability to love and connect, be in relationship? Is it um, our relationship with the divine, possibly? Like, what is it that is human? What is it that's AI? And is there going to be a convergence of sorts? It's interesting.
From your perspective, what have you decided is your relationship with how you want to approach it? Because you've
Yeah.
got it personally, you've got it in your profession, and then you have 12, 15 business owners who have a relationship that you're mindful of and helping to care for.
Yeah.
Um, you're really at the mix in the mix of it.
For myself, I am cautiously enthusiastic. So, meaning that I wish to dive in and learn all I can learn and read all the way from a philosophical perspective to a
Mhm.
very tactical, which parts of my life can it help me to take away administrative things or stuff that I don't want to be doing. And then with my clients, I just want to meet them where they are. I have all the way from somebody who does not wish to talk about it ever. Thank you very much. Not doing it. Not
Mhm.
um, not interested. Period.
Wow.
To somebody who's built a full agentic organization, and that the agents, want to get together and talk with me. And these are AI bots or agents that are building a company. So the huge spectrum. And so I feel like my job is just to meet you where you are. And if there's a growth edge that you want to be on, how do I encourage that growth edge? What's the upside potential here for, and it's always business and personal both, and just trying to look at it like another tool. Um, yeah, it's interesting.
Every day I'm learning something new, and not necessarily new from the AI itself, but more of that
Yeah.
interaction, that relationship. And I've heard you talk about your relationship with AI, your relationship with nature. And it's something that I've been thinking about starting to say, wait, I don't I get to choose. I don't have to be this way with that or this way around
Yeah.
a business. I don't have to be. I get to choose that relationship I have with it.
Yeah.
And whether it's at arm's distance, whether I want to hug that group, that friend, how much I want to be, and the kind of relief or the peace that I'm personally getting from uh, not feeling like I need to be a certain way,
Yeah.
that I get to choose
Yeah.
and I get to guide on that. Uh, I see that with a lot of business owners of, well, I'm supposed to have all the answers. I'm supposed
Uh,
to have this versus what's the relationship with my business? What's the relationship with my employees, my leadership team, with my family? Um, it doesn't seem it has to be all or nothing. You've taught me there's so many variabilities to it and that we really are in control of that.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the only thing we have control of is our response to everything that's happening in the world, you know? So some people are upset, politically and with wars and things that are happening. And it's like, can you observe but not absorb? And how do you make that choice of where that's going to be? How everything that you expose yourself to now is in your conscious and in your subconscious brain. So being very selective about where your exposure is and what you're looking at, what you're taking in. If you think about it as food for your mind, food for your soul,
Mhm,
every time you turn on a screen or every time you scroll, every time you take in something, that's what you're feeding yourself. And because there's so many options right now and these algorithms feed off of our outrage, they feed off of our high level of engagement and the AI feeds off of attachment. So it's gauged to be able to create attachment with you, right? So
mhm,
we have to be really aware of all that, be able to shut down where we want to shut down and not be bringing in all of the information all of the time because we're doing that. And then we're like, why can't I focus? Or why do I feel overwhelmed? Or what's this anxiety about? It's like, okay, we're not being thoughtful. Like we think about what we're putting in our bodies. I'm going to get my grams of protein or I'm going to get my steps in or whatever. And then I'm also going to be watching this shit that's just feeding my rage and my outrage, right? And it is designed to be addictive and it's really good. I fight with it too. Like I fight with it all the time. I want to feel like I'm getting this information. I'm on the inside and these people that I feel like um, get me or get what it is I want to see and hear. But we constantly have to be vigilant, just like what you're putting in your mouth, right? It's like
mhm.
it just doesn't work to be completely open to all things. And I hope it doesn't work to be completely closed to all things either, right? So that's the hard part is there's not a black or a white, there's a gray, which is always in that edge of like, where am I taking in something that's meaningful and using it to live a better life and to help people around me live a better life. And that's where I think I'm helping people make sure they have a mantra for themselves. And whatever your mantra is your GPS. So then when you're doing things or you're taking in things like, is this feeding my purpose on life? Is this feeding what I'm here for, what I stand for? Yes or no? Okay, no. Well, maybe I'd like to select out of that. Um, because otherwise it's pretty tough to just keep in that balanced place. Otherwise it's a lot.
I wrote it down and I wanna
Yeah.
go back and hit on the
Yeah.
observe, not absorb.
Yes.
Probably one of the most powerful things I've ever heard in 3 words.
Thank you. Yeah.
To observe it and watch it and not take it on. As a female that I wanna solve problems. I wanna take it. I wanna help others. I want to engage. And you're saying you could choose not to engage.
You must choose not to. You must choose not to engage in all of it, right? So pick those small places, pick those moments and those wins and small kindnesses that you can do and think about how big does your scope need to be. And it can change, right? This week maybe I feel
Mhm.
like, oh, I have this much. I can do more. The next week, I okay, I've got enough just to do me and the immediate family right now, right?
Yep.
So being super intentional about what your scope is and picking small places to be kind or make a difference or do the things. But if you're trying to if you're feeling like absorbing it is of service, which I've been there before. I feel
Oh,
like, how can
yes.
I not watch what's happening in XYZ place right now? Like, I should not turn away from this, right? And then I have to ask myself, what's my scope of influence? What's my sphere where I can actually make a difference? And doing that makes me smaller. Bringing in the really painful things makes me smaller, have less light, have less love, and defeats the purpose. And I've been giving this a lot of thought, Kristen, because I know it's just I think where a lot of us are right now, especially ladies that I talk to. It's like this is a constant recalibration.
I now know where a lot of my anxiety is coming from, Michelle. I am absorbing
Ah,
and not observing.
yes,
Sometimes it is okay to just go sit on the benches and watch
yes.
and not be on the bench ready to be tagged in and playing on the field there.
Yeah.
I You talked about, guiding light, mantras.
Mhm.
Um, what is your North Star? That anytime you
Yeah.
feel unstable, off-centered, that you refocus and say, "No, here's my purpose."
In the last couple of years, meditation has become very, very helpful for me. I've always tried it and I've always done it and felt like, well, that was relaxing, but I knew there must be more there, right? And I, I, I was lucky enough this last year to do a plant-based medicine journey, which really put me in touch with, for me, what felt like my inner divine and that guiding light and all of that. And so now when I meditate, I finally understand the peace that it brings, right? I finally can touch into what feels like universal energy and become a part of it. And that has been a huge tool, and I'm so grateful. I wish I'd had it 20
Mhm,
years ago, but I didn't. I didn't, and I tried to meditate. So, and I have, as my guiding mantra is just to create and collaborate in a way that promotes deep eudaimonia, which is a Latin term for like peace and love and fulfillment. It used to be happiness, and I'm like, happiness didn't quite capture it for me, but this word eudaimonia, which is
mhm,
EUDA monia, um, encompasses it because it's that inner stillness and that inner peace and that inner I'm okay-ness, right?
mhm.
Even in the storm. So if I can create that in myself and help others create it and collaborate with others to create it, that fills me up. Like, it just is something that touches me in my soul.
Absolutely love it, and I know going through, the every person who meditates says it is the most amazing thing in the world, and I say it is the most infuriating, frustrating.
Yes.
Why can't I do this?
Yes.
And I found that everyone's got their own way
Yes.
of getting in touch with that inner person, having a good
Mhm.
dialogue, the feeding their soul. Um, and I love you found that path there to be able to have meditation and yoga and that part of your daily practice is just inspiring.
Thank you. And I think that the important thing is to keep trying different things. Like, I know you're able to go out and run. And you say that to me, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't even know how you can do that." Like, I cannot imagine myself just, "I'm gonna go run some whatever miles," right? So, for you, that physical activity that
Mhm.
really brings you into that peaceful place is what works for you. So that's the other thing too, is like, comparison just ruins happiness and joy. Like, if I look at what Kristen's able to do physically and the competitions you've done and the running you've done and all that stuff, and I start to compare myself against that, I feel like, what is wrong with me? Like, why can't I do that? And so I think I finally embodied at this age that to not compare yourself, but there's so many options. Like, okay, let me try this option. Let me try this option. I mean, people find different ways and different things, but it's when we compare ourselves and we're like, well, I know I can't go run 10 miles, so I give up, you know? Y You just keep trying until you find the thing that can help bring you to center and help bring you to peace, back into yourself, and there's so many ways, which is awesome. I think so much is available right now.
That comparison trap is real, Michelle. It is real. As we talked about that narrative, that inner
Yeah.
voice, every time I look at a feed, we've talked about there's someone you and I both know is absolutely always trying new things, highly competent. I don't think he sleeps at night. And I've had to turn him off of my feed because I'm thinking
I can't see this.
every time I see the next thing, so I'm going,
What?
how is he able to do that? And I'm not able to do that. That compared that that sometimes competitiveness goes comparison. I don't know which one comes first, but I found understanding how I'm wired. You talked about our mental or physical, and we're all wired differently, our hardware, our software, and how I'm wired. The I'll say the ADHD in me and my levels of chemicals and what's going on in my head at any given time, I never understood why sugar would amp others up and it would calm me down. Anything that gave others energy actually calmed me down.
Wow.
So going out and running physical activity triggers that those chemicals and the serotonins and all those wonderful things that give me that calmness, where then meditation, I finally stopped beating myself up because I would meditate and that would amp me up
Oh, yeah.
because
Right, right. Yeah.
it wasn't feeding what I needed and my mind. So as we look to deal with the pressures, deal with the stress, um, define our relationships, as
Mm.
you say, with things around us, understanding that we are each so unique and need to find what works for us. That comparison, I'm still on that journey, Michelle. That is
We all are.
still
We all are to some degree. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. I think that's just an ongoing thing. I mean, I always start my meetings with quotes, and often that starts a big discussion, a mastermind session, and we talk about um, interesting things. But the simplest quote has turned out to be the most meaningful, which is just begin again. I think as humans, we're prone to start something and start down a path and think we found like an answer, right? And then somehow it goes away or we fall off or we find a different path and a lot of times there's this space in between starting something new and the next thing where it's like you beat yourself up a little bit. Like, oh, I was going to meditate every day for 20 minutes and now I'm not doing it. And I was going to exercise, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm not doing it. But if we skip all of that internal um, dialogue and henpecking and just say a deep breath, begin again and begin again. Because be human is to forget where we were and to forget our path and to just need to come back again. And now that I can take a deep breath and say, "Oh, whoops, I think I fell off my weightlifting program 2 weeks ago and somehow," right? I don't know what happened, but I'm just like, "Okay, and begin again." Whereas the old me would get so frustrated that I wouldn't or couldn't be consistent with everything in my life enough that I became more of a quitter. It's like, well, then just forget it. If I can't get it right, if I
okay.
can't do it, like I'm just not going to do it. I quit. So did a lot of that until I think through my coaching, I realized that I wasn't alone with this feeling of just how did I start down this path and now I'm not doing it? And, that whole thing is just, I think it's just called being human.
Oh, those beat up sessions. Those are real easy to get into. Okay, so my deep breath and begin again
That's it.
and
And
mindset
again,
shift.
yeah, give yourself grace, girl.
That that's coming up a lot lately.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard a lot of business owners and just leaders in general. We've gone through a lot. I could say the past 5 years, past 10 years, past 15 years. It feels like what used to be a 10-year cycle is now a 5-year cycle, going into 2 to 3 year cycles. Is that I don't want to do the grind anymore. We've gone through our stages of we grind it out, we then grit, bear down through the resilience. We hit a growth cycle, something happens, we grit and grind through
Yes.
it again.
Yeah.
And they're getting into what they call this golden. I want to say golden years because that is age, but that golden years maybe of their company or of their career, and this
Mm.
golden age of I want freedom right now. I just want to go be free. And I'm hearing some of the most interesting explanations or insights to
Yeah.
what does freedom mean to you? How are you defining that for you, Michelle?
I love that question. I did a lot of work last year on trying to figure out for the people that I want to work with and where I think I can add the most value are people that are truly entrepreneurs. And a lot of them bootstrapped and started their own company. And then
Mhm.
they go through the grind. And then they get to the place where they get over the first hurdle or two and they're at that 2, 3 million mark. And then you start hitting all different sort of hurdles. And when I looked at those people that I've worked with that have, I've been able to take them with the group from, 2 or 3 million in revenue up to 10, 15, 20, that kind of thing. It's like the thing that they're looking for is freedom, which is what you were just saying. Like at
Mhm.
the end of the day, this business is supposed to be a vehicle for freedom, but it feels like a vehicle to chain me to this payroll and the grind and right? Like it is not what I was wanting to create with this. And you have to have this vision to think, okay, maybe in 5 years or in 10 years, I'll kind of get there. But by the time they get to 5 or 10 years, so used to the grind that there's not really a deep desire even to not be at the business every day for 12 hours, right?
Mhm.
You've beat that out of yourself. And now it's like the grind is a habit. The grind is where I'm most comfortable. And guess this is my day for quotes, but I love that emotion is the horsepower for change. So if you're in the grind and you've been grinding for 5 years, I mean, truly grinding for 10 years, the only way to be able to do that is to deny your own emotions, to deny the, I really need to get outside. I want to see my kids. I'm feeling whatever. You deny it and push it down and push it down and push it down. So when it comes time that you literally could make a change, because now guess what? I've got a C suite, things are working. I could make a change. I could go down to only 40 hours a week, but there's not as much
Only.
desire there. The emotions aren't there. We have been grinding to the point that the emotions are not really bubbling up to even get us motivated to be away from the business. So it's really like you have to bring them back to life and back online before that person now who's 45, who could work 35 or 40 hours a week, is even going to be able to make that choice or be at choice for themselves. So freedom to me means self-awareness so that you can see where you are and have enough self-awareness about where you want to go and what's important to you in life and what is your value system. That's what creates the freedom. Because a lot of us are living below the line of awareness. Like you're living below this line of even knowing because you're just like kind of a survival mode mentality. Like I'm just going to grind it out again and again, put one foot in front of the other. And how do you get the luxury to pop above that and stand back from it and kind of take an audit of the whole situation and have the freedom then to say, "Oh, I'm I'm gonna make a different choice." And after my divorce, after 26 years of marriage, I got divorced. I was devastated, never wanted that to happen. Also didn't have a career. Also had a husband who let's just say there wasn't going to be any support or alimony or anything like that. So really needed to get back on my own 2 feet and build a career. And I wanted to build something that I loved and was engaged in and really cared about. So doing that was a huge amount of commitment,
Yeah.
but it led to that feeling of freedom. So that's a longer answer than you probably needed.
Beautiful. Absolutely. And so relatable from there's a what I defined as freedom in my 20s is very different than how I see it, or as you say, my relationship with it in
Yeah,
my 50s.
yeah,
Two complete opposites.
sure.
What's the one thing you wish more business owners knew?
Hmm. I think that going it alone, feeling like you need to be the lone ranger, um, is a mistake and makes things harder than they have to be. So obviously, I'm a huge believer in peer groups and in being in a group of other business owners where you can come and share what's really going on and
Mhm.
also share um, the wins and some of the agony that comes along with it, right? It's just a very up and down experience to own a small business, especially in today's world. So I think don't be alone. Find people that can support you and do it with you is probably the biggest It's also the biggest hack. I mean, it feels better, but it's also the biggest hack for growing your business more quickly,
Yeah.
quite honestly. You bring in things that you didn't even know you needed.
It's one of my favorite sayings, success is not a solo journey.
Oh, beautiful.
Go get your village, get your tribe. Michelle, what's right now,
Yeah.
what are you owning?
Ooh. So, a question I brought to my clients last month was, what are you tolerating?
Oh.
So, before I laid that on my clients and my coaching clients, I did a deep dive for myself. What am I tolerating? And one of the things I was tolerating was that I had made my business more complicated than it needed to be, more messy than it needed it to be, literally and figuratively, like having some piles around, having some things that needed to get done, having, this feeling like, oh, shoulding on myself all the time. I should be doing
Yes.
this and shoulding on myself about that. And so when I got really clear that I was tolerating that in myself, it was a huge a huge eye opener, and I have just been on this. Everything I do with business now is keep it simple, silly, the KISS principle, and throw it away if I don't need it, and I've literally, like, physically cleaned everything out and mentally cleaned everything out. And so I am owning that I created a scenario where my business didn't make me feel as free as it could and should, and I'm owning that that's not gonna be true going forward, and I'm super energized by it. I'm like, "What?"
There is nothing more energizing than a good purge. As a military wife, there is
Yes, yes.
nothing that can feed you like a good purge.
Spring cleaning. Gotta do the spring
Physically,
cleaning. Yeah, just
mentally, whatever it is, just go find yourself a good purge.
yeah. My
And then
husband said, "Why was the trash can so full this week? Like, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm trashing a lot of stuff. I'm just out, out, out." So, I'm
that
just owning. Yeah.
I've always thought one of my favorite birthday gifts right before we would move would be one of those really large 15 by 10 feet dumpsters. Just
Right?
have that
Yeah.
show up. Happy birthday to me.
Yes, that's so funny.
Michelle, thank you. Your insights, your guidance never disappoint. And I walk away feeling inspired, uplifted, and just ready to go try something new, whether it's my relationships or keep it simple, silly, not stupid,
Silly. I
silly.
had to I had to
I
change that one
love
a
it.
little bit from the '80s. Yeah, it's my way update.
Thank you. And for
Yeah.
everyone else, thank you for joining us. If today sparked a new idea, it gave you something, a new way of thinking or a new way of being, take action on it. Don't let it sit. Share it, use it, and keep growing. Till next time, keep leading with the clarity, the confidence, and the power that you have.